Marine veteran Zach Tidwell shares his experience with a failed suicide attempt. Now he is changing the world with his remarkable story.
Looking back, obviously hindsight is always 2020. The agitativeness and the impulsiveness, I mean, both of those can be tied to head injuries, but I generally just became a miserable person to be around, and it became an issue in my life that I was so abrasive. And outside of that, I was very apathetic. But I was hiding it. I'm sure that's not what everyone does, but like using the dirt bike for an example, even after I got out of the Marines, I was going to school full time and working full time, showing up to both of those and doing well there. And then I was catching myself withdrawing from things and just not finding any enjoyment in anything. So I would try and force myself out of the house to go to the racetrack, load all my gear up, drive, pay to get into a racetrack, and then just be like, man, I really don't want to be here. And I'd sit there in my truck for a while so that I was still gone for a couple hours and it looked like I went to ride. And I did the same thing with snowboarding in the winter. I'd drive up to the mountains and try and force myself to get out and be there, and then not want to be there and sit in my truck for a couple hours before I drove another couple hours back home. And it would look like I was snowboarding. But I think it's looking out for those subtle changes in people where they're starting to withdraw from the things that they've always found joy in, because that's, looking back, I think was probably the biggest one for me, outside of me just kind of turning into an a-hole.